Before we start animating, we need to take a look at the timeline. The timeline consists of two major panels. The first one is called the layers, and the second one is the timeline itself. In the layers panel, we already know how to make layers. You can put all the layers in folders if you want to organize your layers. You can use that button if you want to make a folder and organize your layers into folders. And that can be very handy if you're working on a bigger project. You can also delete a layer or a folder if you select it and click on that delete button right over here. You can also rearrange the order of the layers, and that will change how they appear on the screen. If I click and hold layer 1 over layer 2, you will notice that the eyes disappear. That is because the eyes are on layer 2 and they're behind the first layer now, and they are not visible anymore. In order to move them back, I need to click, hold and drag layer 1 below layer 2. You should always keep your layers panel organized and tidy. And to do that, you can just rename your layers by double clicking on a layer's name. For example, I can just double click on layer 1 and change the name to body, hit return, and I can double click on layer 2 and call it eyes, hit return. Now I know exactly what's on my layers. At the moment, it may not make too much of a difference because I have only 2 layers, but on a bigger project you can have over 20 layers and it can be overwhelming if you don't know what is on which layer. The next thing in line is that little button right over here that you have after the layers names. These are the highlight buttons that will help you to highlight a specific layer if you want to focus on. The next option that you can have over here is the option of showing only the outline of the layers. If you click over here, that will outline all of your layers. If you see something like this, you have probably clicked on that button. That option is very handy, but we're not going to use it at the moment. The next option is to hide and show the content of a specific layer. That can be very, very good and very helpful if you don't want to get distracted by all the drawings that you have on the canvas. And the next one on the side is the lock layer button. I would recommend you locking all the layers that you're not working on at the moment. This is very important because you accidentally can click somewhere, delete something, and it can ruin your animation and you may have to start over again. So at the moment, I know that I'm not going to be touching the body layer anymore because the body is not going to be animated. So I'm going to click over here and I'm going to lock the content of that layer. And if I try to use the selection tool, which is shortcut V on the keyboard, and try to select anything from the canvas, you will notice that I am able only to select the eyes but not the body, which is exactly what I want. The next thing to focus is the timeline itself. The timeline consists of multiple small boxes, and each box represents a unit of time. At the moment, we are set to work in 30 frames per second, which means that we're going to need 30 frames on the timeline to make 1 second of animation.